Israel reinforces Gaza border as conflict rages on. Israel has deployed tanks and troops to its border with Gaza, as it mulls whether to launch a ground operation in the territory after days of violence. Conflict raged throughout Thursday as Palestinian militants fired rockets into Israel and the Israeli army maintained a barrage of airstrikes. More than 100 people have been killed in Gaza and 7 have died in Israel. Jewish and Israeli Arab mobs have also been fighting within Israel, prompting the president to warn of civil war. Defense Minister Benny Gantz ordered a massive reinforcement of security forces to suppress the internal unrest, and more than 400 people were arrested. 2 infantry units and 1 armored unit were positioned near the border with Gaza on Thursday. At least 7,000 army reservists have also been called up. No decision has yet been made on whether to launch a ground operation. The Israeli army is expected to put forward plans for a possible offensive imminently, but it would need to be approved by army chiefs and various levels of government. The 4 days of violence in Gaza and Israel is the worst since 2014. It was initially fueled by weeks of Israeli-Palestinian tension in East Jerusalem, which led to clashes at a holy site revered by both Muslims and Jews. This spiraled into an incessant exchange of Palestinian rocket fire and Israeli airstrikes. According to the health ministry in Gaza, at least 103 people have been killed in the 4 days of conflict. Officials in the territory, which is controlled by the Islamist militant group Hamas, many civilians have died, including 27 children. Israel says dozens of those killed in Gaza were militants, and that some of the deaths are from misfired rockets from Gaza. In the Israeli city of Sderot, a young boy was killed when rocket fire from Gaza hit his home, and shrapnel penetrated the shelter he was hiding in. Israel has also called up 10 reserve border patrol companies to help tackle the worst unrest between Arab and Jewish communities for many years. Political leaders have appealed for calm, and President Reuven Rivlin described the outbreaks of rioting in several towns and cities as senseless civil war. There have been widespread calls for de-escalation, including from Israel's ally the U.S., but little sign of the conflict easing. A senior Hamas official said the group was ready for a reciprocal ceasefire if the international community pressures Israel to suppress military actions at the disputed Al-Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem. However, Israeli military spokesman Hilda Zilberman said Israel was not seeking a ceasefire at the current time, the Times of Israel reported.